welcome to Sukiyaki. Up now we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to look at a song called Sukiyaki. I had a request for a tab chart of this on one of my Facebook groups and thought I didn't know the song, but I looked it up and realized I had heard the song before. This is originally from the early 60s. It's a Japanese song. It was redone a number of times, but probably most famously in 1980 by A Taste of Honey. And that's the version I had heard before. So kind of a cheesy little pop song, but it lets us look at some things about arranging for the Native American style flute. So I thought that would be fun to look at, whether or not you like the song. So the first thing to recognize, pull up a chart for this. It's typically in the key of F, starts on the note C, which is, and the range goes up an octave and a major second. So C to a high D. Now on Native American style flute, I notate that my non-transposing instrument is an A flute. So the C is in the second hole and the range goes up to an octave above that. So if I try to play the typical arrangement on the NAF, it wouldn't fit because I only have up to a high C. Now I would need to go up to a high D. So there's a couple ways to deal with that. And the easiest is to make the bottom note be your root note. And in this case, what that means is transposing from the key of F down to the key of D. Now I'll show you two charts here. If you're used to regular notation, so some folks like the Nakai tab notation. I'll give you that too. Not a big fan of that. Talked about it before, but if it works for you, great, and I'll give you both of those. So let's just play through the song once in key of D on an A NAF, and here's what it sounds like. Okay, that's the original melody, and it does fit on the flute. Now there's a couple of things to recognize about this arrangement. The first is that it does use some different notes if you're just used to kind of basic scale on the NAF. So it needs a half hole B on the bottom. It also uses the two-finger F sharp in the middle, and it also uses the high B in the second register. So that's three notes that you might not be familiar with. So that's something to be aware of with that arrangement. Now that's pretty much the only arrangement that will work on the NAF with the original melody. But if you don't want to deal with those difficulties we just talked about, there is another solution. What you can do is move the whole arrangement down a step, and I'll give you the chart for that. And you'll notice there's some funny things going on there in a couple of measures. So let me just play the first two bars here, and we'll see where the problem is. Okay, so the bottom of that first phrase, you got a problem, right? Since our first arrangement was already using the root note. If I try to move the whole arrangement down, then that low note I won't have on the flute. So you've got kind of two options there. You got to play a different note. So you can either move it up a whole octave. So I would need to go down to a G, and I don't have a G on an A flute. So I can either play the upper octave G, or I can just play a different note. In this case, probably the one that makes the most sense is just going back up to the C. So let me play both of those, and we'll see which one is better. Okay, that's going back up to the C. If I want to hit the octave G, that would be like this. So that's two choices, and you'll have to decide for yourself which one you think fits better in this particular song. I think it fits better just to go up to the C. So it's not the original melody note, but let's just play through the whole song, and this is what it sounds like. Okay, so downside of that arrangement is you have to do something tricky with that missing note. The upside is that it's almost completely pentatonic. So it's all the normal notes. It does not go into the second octave. I guess the only tricky part is it does have the F note, which is not in the regular scale. But if you know your mode 4 playing on the NAF, you'll be familiar with that F note. But that's the only thing that's outside of the normal pentatonic. So there you go. There's two ways to play the song, and hopefully that gives you some options on how to arrange for NAF and things to think about when you're taking just a song that wasn't written for the NAF and trying to arrange it for that instrument. So hope you enjoyed that, and thanks for watching. Catch you next time.